Alright, so today, this is I think day 3, lost track of time. I've got the porting all done on the cylinder, the pistons installed, so really I'm down to assembly. I do need to get one bolt I'm going to block off the decompression port, so I need to grab that, and other than that it's cleaning. I do not want to assemble a saw on top of a whole bunch of aluminum shavings. So what I'm gonna do is take the body of the saw outside real quick and spray it out real good with a bunch of brake clean, get in the crankcase and all that stuff. I was pretty careful not to get anything down in there, but you never know. And then I'm gonna bring that back in, let it dry while I clean up this mess. And I'm gonna let it dry in a completely separate part of this shop so that there is very little chance that any dust from the vacuum or anything make its way back to that saw. Do that, and then I also have to run down to the hardware store and grab a bolt for that, because I'm pretty sure that's going to be a metric bolt, and I don't have anything laying around. So yeah, that's where we're at. I'm probably not going to film cleaning because that seems really boring, but when it comes to actually reassembling, I'll film that. We are pretty much there. I'm just making for sure and certain that everything down here is clean. And the mating surface for the cylinder, base gasket, whatever. That looks good. I'm gonna put a little bit of 2-stroke oil on all of the bearings, mating surfaces. Just a skosh though. Really don't need much. It's just so that the engine doesn't start up dry, which can be damaging. I also need to get that ring on there. So I'm going to grab my ring, which is here somewhere. There it is. Same thing with my cylinder. Just a light little film all the way around. So bolt my intake on. If I remember right, I want this clamp to be on the bottom. You don't need this intake clamp to be super tight, I've learned. You're just sealing the rubber to the metal. If you tighten it a ton, it will have a tendency to bow the rubber out. And these factory style ones have a little spacer in there, and that seems to be about right if you tighten it just where it's tight to the spacer. There she is. Check it with my flathead real quick. Yep. Good. And now both my mating surfaces are clean. So I'm going to take some of this Honda Bond, get her on my finger, and we're going to just real lightly paint both sides, the crankcase and the bottom of the cylinder on the mating surfaces. And we'll take a Q-tip and clean anything out from the holes. It's probably an unnecessary step, but we're going to do it anyway. Alright, spring compressor. I have been made aware that you do not want to twist the cylinder at all going down. You really want to try and just go straight down, and that makes sense to me. Just trying to not score the inside of the cylinder with the piston ring. So that's what we're going to attempt to do. Pull this guy out of the way. Before we go any further here, I'm going to pull this what's it called? Impulse line through this little grommet. Again, I have sliced the top of this one, so it makes it a little bit easier, but it's still a bit of a pain when the cylinder's all the way down. So I'll just make it easy on ourselves. Boom. Piece of cake. Alright, looking good, looking good. I'm going to grab my bolts. Making sure not to tighten any of this down too much until I get all four of them in. That's just normal procedure. Oh. idea how good this video is going to turn out. This whole process of building a saw, I've been playing with different settings on the camera. Kind of figured this would be a less watched series, so I used it to experiment a little bit. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's going to be bad or anything. It's just, well, still learning. Pretty new to this whole thing. I have a feeling that the video that I'm taking right now is probably going to be some of the better quality video that I've done so far. I think I've kind of honed in on the right settings, but who knows? I'm not going to put the muffler on right away, because since I am going to wait about 4 hours, I think, to do first fire on this thing. As far as I know, that muffler is 100% stock, and generally speaking, mufflers on chainsaws are a little on the restrictive side anyway, but especially when you hop up a saw, they're very restrictive. So I'm going to take a look at that and see if maybe there's somewhere I can improve upon that a little bit. I am not opposed to just making a new pipe for this saw. I've got a pretty good idea of a few different designs that work. But I kind of want this saw to be a bit of a sleeper. So rather than just straight away building a hot rod pipe for it, I think what I'll do is try to open up that stock muffler a skosh and see how it runs with that. And since I'm going to be really anxious to fire this thing up, I gotta do something to fill my time, because it's midday here. I mean, it's like, I think it's about 2 o'clock. So that means by dinner time, I should be able to fire this puppy up. I am gonna slap a spark plug in there, and yeah, I'm gonna hook up my fuel line. I kind of question this fuel line a little bit. It's the one that came with this tank, and it looked like it had been creased a little bit. Hopefully it runs. If it doesn't, it's not that big a deal for me to replace it. I've got some good line here, but kind of kick myself for not just replacing it when I put the tank on. But I think it'll probably work, and might as well hook my throttle cable up while I'm in here. If I can get at it. Okay. Ooh. I do not have full throttle. That's interesting. What is that? Yeah, because sometimes it's not even catching. Okay, well, I'm gonna turn the camera off. These bolts are, I think I torqued them all the way down. I'm going to check one more time. Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think that the back end of the throttle cable has kind of come out of its home there. So that's kind of lame. But yeah, that's absolutely what happened. So I'm going to turn the camera off, I think, and yeah, what the heck, I'll just let it run. This is a fairly simple operation, but you gotta get the right tools. So there's a little cross pin right at the top there. You gotta pop it out. And once you pop out that cross pin, you can pull the safety lever out of the way. Boy, that thing doesn't want to do it. Alright, that is our issue right there. See the little end ball on the throttle cable needs to go in that groove. So that should be simple enough. It's just kind of fiddly doing the whole thing. And after that we should have full throttle, I hope. I'll update you later. Alright. We're definitely on the home stretch here. Obviously the saw looks pretty together because it is. The last thing I need to do is just pop the muffler on. Good news is that well, I don't know if it's good news or not. I decided not to modify the muffler. It's actually really open in there. Most of the time they're not. I don't know about 372 specifically. I haven't actually looked inside one before. But if I do anything to this muffler, I'll do it after the break-in period, because when you open up the exhaust more, it has a tendency to lean out the saw, and that's already a problem when you're, breaking in a saw. You want it to be rich. So I'll do it later if I do anything to it. This should be fine for now. So I'm just going to pop this muffler on and then take you guys outside with me, and we'll see if we can't get this thing running. Got a good feeling. It's probably going to be real smoky when it fires up. If it fires up. Should be good. I don't know if I'm getting any spark. Remember that fuel line I should have replaced? I don't think it's coming through. I can see the fuel line kinked in there. I guess I have to replace that fuel line. Got a good fuel line in there. Just gonna put some good gas in. Let's try this again. Whew. There she goes. Gotta take the chain brake off. Won't quite idle. Give it a little less low jet. That'll do.